with another talk presented by Daniel Reyes about a case study, Arab, how to launch an e-commerce business in the US market. So please, everyone in the room, try to keep it at a low volume to respect the presenter. Thank you. Word to you, Daniel.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. So my name is Daniel Reyes. I work at Open Source Integrators. And we worked with Arab on launching their US business. And Arab is a very interesting company, fast-growing. I'll talk a bit about it to you. And I'll share our journey into helping them with their US market launch. So a bit more about me. I said I work at OSI, Open Source Integrators. Its headquarters are in the US, and I'm the managing director for the European office. I'm based in Portugal, Lisbon. I'm also part-time, I'm a board member at the Odoo Community Association, if you know about it, so we're deeply involved with it. I'm also author of a few Odoo development books. And these are my Twitter and GitHub handles, so you can find me on these channels. So about Arab. Arab is a young and innovative startup based in Munich, Germany. And it's disrupting the beverage industry. So they have this very innovative product that's kind of unique on the market. And it's have a huge success, and it's growing very fast. So they invented a drinking system where you have bottles of just plain water, and you can add on them scented pods that give you the feeling that it's flavored water. So it's completely natural. There's no sugar, no calories, and it's an upgrade to regular water, basically. So it's a very interesting product, and it's really very healthy and very ecological, conscious product. So it's no surprise how successful it's been across Europe. And then in the US too, it's the new market that they're growing, and they're just growing like a hockey stick. So it's amazing their growth rate. So back in 2016, there were 5 people, and they grow multiples every year. So this is the last number. I'm sorry, I don't have the most accurate numbers. This was probably last year. There were more than 200. This number today might be 3-4 times what it is, because it's rapidly scaling, and and you can imagine also on the process and systems a challenge it is to keep up with this rate of growth. So I was saying it was very successful across Europe. It grew from Germany, France, Italy, Sweden. So it grew all over the European market. And what's the next thing? The next big thing is let's hit the US market. It's a huge market, probably bigger than the European market. So that's when we came to know them. They came to know our team. Our team has offices in Europe. Their IT is based in Munich. Our team has very strong capabilities on consulting and accounting practices in the US. So we're kind of the right fit for them to help them cross the Atlantic into the US. So what's the challenge for Arab at that point? So it's a big project at all levels. So it's not an IT project. You need to set up a company. You need to set up the logistics to run the business on that country. You need to implement the web store specific to the US and think about the promotions and the marketing you're going to do around it. And of course, you need to install an ERP. So this project, overall, when you talk to the management team, it's a piece in the bigger puzzle. And it's important to understand what the whole puzzle is and support their effort in making a successful launch. It's not only about the ERP or the operations. So that's the starting point. Now, going specific to what we did, so why Odoo, why this choice? So the European operations have been being run using Odoo. They have an Odoo 13 installation. And the choice was to keep keep using Odoo for the US business, but let's use a more recent version. So the decision was, let's have a different instance, let's not share the same, let's have a specific instance. It's an opportunity to implement Odoo from scratch with lessons learned from the European experience, and that's how we started. So we started implementing Odoo with a fresh new view, and now what's the interesting thing is also getting lessons learned from the US project, and we are introducing some improvements back into the European system based on what we learn also in the US. So it's a great learning experience having these two systems. It worked really well. So what kind of challenges did we have for the implementation? So the website is supported, is in Shopify. So these are the key things we need to work on. So Shopify integration was an important topic. And the next was logistics are run by a third-party logistics provider. So we need a tight integration with the operations for that provider. So it's an EDI-like integration that needed to be developed. The other thing is a small detail. The US is large. There are multiple warehouses where products can be shipped from. So depending where the order is to be delivered, the warehouse that should ship that order is different. And usually Odoo likes to make this decision, but the 3PL was handling this. So they handle the transportation management system, and we need to make this compatible with the way Odoo works. This was just a configuration, but this was like an important design decision. So final warehouse, even though the delivery order probably suggests a departing warehouse, in the end, it's the 3PL who tells us where it was really shipped from, so that we need to update that data into Odoo properly, so that then Odoo can report what's the quantity of each product on each warehouse. The other, it's not a focus for today, the other is on the supply part, on the purchase process. We have overseas free on-board container shipping, which means that you got property of the items when they are delivered at port of origin. There are manufacturers in Turkey and manufacturers in China. So property for the products is when you get those products at the port of origin. But then they have a month or two to ship travel through containers to the US, and then travel to the warehouse until they are made available. And there are some interesting accounting discussions here of how COGS should be computed, about sellable goods unit cost. And it's going on. We had to do some customizations on Odoo to make this up to the standards of the finance team, but there's some interesting, it could be a talk on its own. I'm not talking about the purchasing process today. I'll be talking more about the sales process. But it's a very interesting topic. Next, we needed a system that's built for high transaction. This number is actually outdated. It's 200,000 per month, the number of orders that are being processed by Odoo in Europe. So the US launch end of June, beginning of July. It's picking up, but it's growing up, and we know we had to build a system to handle not 10K, but 200K per month level of orders. So we engineered that from the beginning. And finally, and this is like the most important thing, AirUp requirement was to handle this high-level number of orders. They wanted to run automatically. You only need a person to handle the exceptions. The regular flow from an order until it's shipped and accounted for should be totally automatic, no human intervention. So that's the focus for my talk. I would like to show you how we did this for them. So they have a business running on autopilot unless there's some fraud or return or something like that. That's where you need someone to handle the process. So how did you automate the workflow? So this is basically the workflow we needed to implement. So we needed to record payments ahead of time, and accounting team, the CFO, is based in Germany, and he was very precise on what he wanted to see on the numbers for the company. And they really wanted to have accounting postings for the payments that customers did on the shop, but were not fulfilled yet. So that's an account receivable, but it's on the other side of the ledger, because we have the money. It works like an advance payment from the customer until I have the invoice out and I have delivered the items. So we did that part of the process. There's posting the advance payments, and we need to automate. So think about the flow of Odoo. You need to confirm the quotation to a sale order. You need to send the delivery order to the warehouse, and when the warehouse delivers, we need to confirm the delivery order. So those are button clicks on Odoo, on a regular process. And then you need to create the invoice. You need to confirm the invoice. You need to assign the payment between the invoice and the advance payment. And finally, you need to reconcile. So when you get the statement from where the money was collected, in this case it's Shopify, you need to reconcile to confirm that the cash got into our bank account and there's nothing missing. So this is the full flow. We wanted this automated from the first step to the last step. So this is the same process, a bit with more detail. I'll probably don't need to go into all the details here. There's some additional steps, like we will need to check for fraudulent orders. There's the automatic bank reconciliation. There are some cases that are configured on the bank reconciliation, like there are some cent adjustments because of taxes. There's the financial fees that we want accounted automatically for. There's some interesting configurations done here. So how did we automate the workflow? So a design goal from our side was to make customizations as little as possible. And the way we approach this, we try to leverage quality community modules that implement existing features for dozens of other companies and are maintained by other developers too. And the way we have this, it's a shared repository of good modules in the Odoo Community Association. And in this case, we used the sales automation workflow. So we were able to automate this flow with no customization, only using good quality community modules. So this one was the first. The sale automatic workflow provides the configuration. You have checkboxes, you have rules you can configure, and you can automate all these clicks I showed you before. So through this configuration, I can say, in this case, if it's not a fraudulent order, there's a flag coming from Shopify telling me that I should confirm the sale order. And when I get the delivery order, you should automatically create and validate the invoice. So this kind of automation can be configured here. So no custom code. It's not core Odoo. It's a community model, but no customer specific code here. So the other thing was the payment on the sales order. So you know that you can't record the payment on the sale order. You can only record the payment on the invoice. So what we did was reuse a community feature that allows you to record the payment on the sale order. It's called sale advance payment. And we plugged it into the automation of the previous model. So this has a button to record an advance payment. And we'll automatically link to the invoice when the invoice is created later on. It will do the matching. And what we did was just plug this into the automation workflow, and we got the full flow automatic. The next important thing here is preparing for high loads. And how we do that is leveling spikes. So you have periods with low traffic, and you might have a spike with very high traffic. And when you're doing things like posting a stock transfer or posting an invoice, you want to level traffic, so you want to put that in a single line or 2 or 3 lines that can be handled by Odoo workers, and delay those a bit, have one wait for that, so that Odoo processes one at a time, there's no serialization errors, and there's no, better than that, there's no transactions that are in error and are lost or need to be manually repeated. So we use the job queue. That's also a community module that allows us to say all these transactions should be put in a queue, and they then will be handled in a sequence order. And if it's low traffic, they're instantly handled. If there's very high traffic, maybe you need to wait a few minutes to get them processed by the system. But this makes sure that you have a reliable and system that can handle high performance. So this screen here is the log screen where all the transactions are, the jobs are posted and the status for each. So you can maintain if there's an error, you can go there, investigate what's happening. So this was a key piece that was put from the beginning because we know that we need to handle very high loads. And finally, so this was the key points for the solution we implemented. Some success factors we found for the solution that was implemented is, number one, is we should leverage as much as possible the Odoo standard processes, like the payment requirement on the sale order. We just used the regular payment records from Odoo, of course. We didn't reinvent anything. We just linked them to the sale order, but it was already there. The model's already there. So again, avoid customization. Use the best you can what Odoo provides out of the box and build around it. So the second thing reinforces the first. So don't just go and custom develop. Work hard on figuring out the configurations that can solve the problem. Studying them. Make sure you spend time studying what's possible, what's not, before going into other options. And then if it doesn't fit, again, don't go for custom modules. Try to find what's out there, and it's proven code. It's used by other companies, and you can deploy to make them solve the problem on this customer. You don't want to have custom code, so you want to avoid that as much as possible. So that goes into the fourth. So if there's something missing, like we found that the advanced payment was not automatically reconciling with the invoice when it was posted. So what we did, we added that feature to the community module so that our customer tomorrow that will need the same feature, it's already there. So we can just grab the module, install it on that customer, it will be full-featured for that customer too. So if it's possible, improve these existing modules so you have this shared library library of features for your customers that will work better. So just improve that module rather than siloing that code into that customer-specific code. So doing these approaches, we got a very flexible solution, a very maintainable solution, because the footprint of really customer-specific code is very small, and you have a happy customer because they have more options, they have lost cost of ownership, and it's a great for the customer to have a project that has all this works in this way. And that's it for my presentation. So thank you. I'm open for questions.
Thank you, Daniel, for your presentation. So at this moment of time, we open up for the questions. So is there anyone in the room who would like to ask Daniel a question regarding the project?
Thank you for the presentation. As you said, use Odoo and OCA modules, but why did you use Shopify as a web shop then?
That was not our choice. Okay. So the customer, as I said, he was already using Odoo and Shopify, that combo in Europe. They were happy with it. So if there were a conversation on, oh, we're not happy on this or on that on Shopify, we could have opened other possibilities on what could be done around Odoo on that, but they were happy. They have a web team that's very familiarized. The marketing teams are familiarized with the platform. So there doesn't seems to be a pain there. So it was, yeah, there's a previous decision to our project.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions? No? Okay, then we can round it up here. Thank you again, Daniel,
Thank
for
you.
the presentation.